the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Jacob, we're back.
We're back. I didn't want, this is those moments like when we have a guest and I'm like, don't say a word. I want all of this. Because this is the reunion of all reunions right now. The fans have been dying.
Are they upset?
They're upset. They're furious.
I'm so sorry, fans.
We only have one thing to blame, and that's a pandemic.
That is a little friend of ours named Omicron.
I always say Omicron, and I know that's a transformer and not a pandemic disease, but I guess it's Omicron, right?
Omicron.
Omicron.
It's either Omicron or I've been hearing some people say Omicron, and it's making me doubt myself. But I thought it was Omicron.
Why don't we come up with our own version of that? Where could we go elsewhere? Could we go like
Omicron?
Omicron. From now on, Noel, we're only going to tell people, well, back when I had Omicron.
Omicron. It was a disease, but I defeated it with my powers.
But right as we started, you said two things. You wanted to tell me two things. And I was like,
two things. One is, so just so the audience knows, you and I both, at different times, from totally different sources, completely caught Omicron.
We got Omicron. We both bit by the Omicron.
And I imagine much of the audience probably was also bit by Omicron, judging by the numbers.
Yes. Yeah. Seeing as literally right before we started the podcast, I got a text from my sister-in-law. She now has it, whereas their family is getting it in waves. It's hitting like individuals, and I'm grateful that we just all got it at once.
Me too.
Because that's how you got to do this thing.
Yes. You just all huddle up together. You get sick, and you all just huddle up. You deal with it. You sniffle. You complain about your throat. You feel tired. You forget your name.
And you look as one family member or two possibly do great through the whole thing. Yes. And then one definitely gets bit the worst, and then the other one's kind of like the boundary, the world between those two things, kind of like I'm helping these people over here and I'm entertaining these over here who are trapped and not feeling sick at all.
That's exactly what it was for us. Yeah. Well, so in our house, I'm now certain that I had this is my second experience with COVID.
The second's the best kind.
Because the second's the best kind. Uh-huh. Just because of the similarities in how I felt. Only this time, I would say, and I don't know if it's because I haven't looked into it, I'll be honest. I don't know if it's because Omicron is in fact weaker, which was the hope, right?
Right.
Spreads better, but it's weaker. Yeah. Or if it's because I did have it, so I had some additional immunity from that, or if it's because I'm vaccinated.
Right.
Or a combination of all of them.
All the things.
But last time I felt horribly, terribly, awfully sick for quite a while. And then had long COVID for quite a while. Right. And this one was like just a dream. I don't want to say getting sick is a dream, but I had a cold, like a sore throat, a little bit of brain fog maybe, but not too bad. I didn't lose any of my taste. I didn't lose any. It was honestly pretty smooth. I was like, oh, thank God, it's just a cold. And that's really was my experience with it. Now, my poor wife, that was not her experience with it. She still has a bit of a lingering cough. She lost her taste and her sense of smell for like a week. She's still dealing with the brain fog, and she was pretty sick. She had to stay down with it. The kids, Jaden had it. Jaden, I think, she had it worse than Owen, but not bad. She probably was like me. I would say she and I had a similar experience. Yeah. Only like I don't think I was even sick for a week. I was maybe sick 5 days at most. 5 days if you include like lingering stuff. Yeah. Jaden was probably 3 days, 4 days if you include lingering stuff. Owen had like maybe he had a fever for about. He tested positive, so we know he had it. Right. But he had maybe a fever for like an hour.
There's always the lucky member. There's the lucky member, at least what I've heard so far. There's the one member of the family that they're like, Omicron's got nothing on me.
It's nothing. I'm not concerned.
I was.
How about you guys?
I was Talia in this situation.
Sorry, dude.
I was, and here's the thing. I kind of, my whole life, especially in this family. I'm the guy who doesn't get sick. When the colds and the flus come through, the kids get knocked down, my wife gets knocked down, and I'm always the one who's like, well, I don't have that much of a problem here. I'm kind of fighting my way through. Or allergies are bad. Everybody's sniffling and coughing. And I'm like, I don't really have allergies. I was the one who got so knocked down that it got to that point where you go, when you're sick, and at first you're like, hey, I'm just grateful to lay down for a day or two to just like get through this. This was that kind of sick where you feel like a prisoner in your body and you're like, I want to rejoin humanity. I want to go back to life before this. Yes. I want to take a bite of a sandwich and go, this is delicious. I want all those things and none of those things.
You're so sick that you crave, like, that normalcy feels like heaven.
It does. It does. And when you start a day and you start going, hey, I'm starting to feel good today. And then it goes down again. You go, Omicron.
Which is so COVID. Like it's such a wave thing. Like you one day you're kind of feeling better. The next day you're feeling the toilet again and then a little better. And then toilet that was bad. And then, kind of move your way out of it.
The most bummer day was I'd been tired of being cooped up and I'd been cleared enough that I felt like I could walk in the neighborhood with a mask on. I was like, nice. I can go out and get some fresh air and go for a walk. And I made it like 4 or 5 blocks, got back home and I was like, my day's done. I can't. Please don't ask me to do anything from here on out.
And that's all my energy. Congratulations.
That's all the energy I have. But Jamie did good. She was about 50% of what I had for 2-3 days, and then she was done. And then Ewan was like, you would have never known he had COVID. Not even nothing. Elliot had a little bit of the cough, a little bit of that, but it came and went pretty fast. But honestly, So we did it. We're through it.
Funny. It's done.
What a start to 2022, right?
Yeah.
It just unbelievable.
So you're at home, obviously.
I'm at home.
We did close the office, despite the fact that people might be noticing that I'm in an office like that.
You are in an office like atmosphere that's above high.
I'm very high.
Very
so high right now.
It's the Omicron.
I feel like we lucked out a little bit. We were early in the experience. So
you were during the holiday.
Yeah. So Jaden had the night of Christmas. She suddenly felt bad. And so we sent everybody home. We're like, oh God, what just happened? And then we all tested negative that night.
Yeah.
And then she went to bed. She woke up the next morning and she had a sore throat. She's like, I don't feel that good. And so then we waited a couple of days, tested again. We all tested positive. And about a day after her, 26, when I started feeling bad, this is when I started worrying. Well, this could be something. But our Christmas, our Boxing Day week, our week after Christmas. We were home. We recorded. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. But at the same time, it's a week after Christmas. That's kind of what you do anyway. Maybe you go to a couple stores to pick up some gift certificates. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. We didn't have a lot planned, and that kind of worked out. So we took it easy, got better, got rested, and then I only was going to miss a couple days of work. And when I was calling you and you were in the office, it's like, I'll be in any day. And then
I'll see you tomorrow.
Then you got it.
I got it.
And then after you got it, and then separately again, Elise got it.
I know.
From a whole none of us saw each other. None of us gave this to each other. These were outbreaks.
I know. Outbreaks.
Yeah, it was so crazy. But I figured, okay, so I just had the disease. I'm probably got some pretty good immunity. I'm going to go into the office at work because when I'm quarantining, I work on a deck that I built in the backyard.
Yes.
This time of year is not good deck time.
It's brisk.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
But that leads me to my mistake. This long story.
All of this has led to Noel's mistake. And that's the name of this episode. No,
this episode is Noel's mistake. One of many.
No, what was it?
I'm supposed to bring a microphone. And you may notice that my voice sounds a little probably tinny compared to Jacob's, not quite as great. I'm using the computer microphone, and that's because I didn't bring the microphone because it's at home. And normally when we do remotes, I'm at home.
That's
no big
right.
deal. So I leave the mic there unless I'm traveling, for Biofriendly, then I bring it with me as part of we're going to do a remote podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't have one. So I load it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to unplug my microphone right now so that we can be at the same level.
Really?
Yes. Like this whole opening of this show. Yeah, fine. I can be on the microphone. But now that we've said what's really happening here,
right?
And Noel doesn't have a microphone, so I'm not going to have a microphone. I'm going to use my
quality be damned.
Quality be damned. We're in this together, buddy. So hold on. Let's see what happens. This is going to be that moment where unplug.
Nobody can hear Jacob anymore. When the show suddenly. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
He's unplugged. There you are.
So there we go. Now I'm back in.
Is it recording? Are you getting?
It did stop. It did stop recording it for a second. Mm-hmm. So I did have to.
In this moment, you may only be hearing me because it stopped recording for a moment. Jacob unplugged the microphone.
But now I'm here and we're doing the show. Okay. And it's Noel and Jacob, just no nonsense. No
nonsense.
Yeah. You could say this is our unplugged 2022.
Biofriendly Podcast Unplugged. We did it.
People are like, what? We did it. You have to be plugged in. Oh my goodness.
Our shirt game's on point today, Jacob.
I know. I've got my Starry Night Stormtrooper, and you've got your Bob. Your happy
Bob
little
Ross.
trees, Bob Ross.
Only happy accidents.
Our man. There's a great documentary about him that I've been wanting to watch. I haven't seen it yet. I should have taken the time. I watched everything when I had COVID. I watched everything.
You watched the internet.
The internet, and I can say, and I already told him. I said, Sean Coney, you stinker. You are right. Saved by the Bell is fantastic. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I was kind of blown away by how much it made me smile, how clever it was, how funny it was. So he was right. So
he's right.
Sean, thank you, sir, for your great recommendation. It is
we watched the Hawkeye show for the holidays, based on what Sean was saying, and I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. We finished it before Christmas. It was like our Christmas watch. It was our Christmas movie. It was terrific. It was so well done.
Yeah, I loved it too. Yeah, I watched that one. Ghostbusters. I still haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife. I have not seen it, and we have been gearing up by showing you in Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the originals, and we just the other night watched 2, and I got to find a way to get Afterlife. I don't know if it's streaming yet or if you have to rent it or what, but I am so excited to see that.
Yeah, really excited to see it. It's I mean, everybody keeps telling me how great it is, and Sean Coney made it as number one, so I mean, you have to just
you have to trust that. Yeah.
There was lots of times I thought, okay, I'll watch it after Christmas.
Yeah.
Could I watch it after Christmas COVID?
No.
Well, we went up to the snow at Arrowhead for a couple of days, which I think is where we got COVID.
Yeah, we got ours traveling too, for sure. Yeah. If you rolled the dice and you left your house in any point in time during December or January, you're going to get COVID anywhere you go. That's just how it goes.
And so we did.
Yeah.
But while we were up in Arrowhead, that's where we went for the snow. There was a movie theater there, and they were playing Ghostbusters. I said we have to do Ghostbusters, and then I kept getting, we had some family up there with us, and it never worked out. We kept getting outvoted by other events and other things that were more important. Yeah. So I just kept missing it, and now I gotta.
We gotta see it. We gotta see it. I'm dying to see it. So I'm hoping that by the time you and I have, gotten maybe one more show under our belts, maybe by next week, maybe by the end of January, you and I will have been afterlifed. That's what I'm hoping.
That would be good.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. But it's good to be back, and it's not, and to our loyal Biofriendly fans, like, some of my dear friends who do love the show, texted me and were like, are you okay? Like, the fact that there's not any Biofriendly Podcast, like, really worries me. And I'm like, it's tough. Right when we got back, we were not in the office, and I was thinking, oh man, if we do our first one in 2022 and it's Zoom, is that going to be kind of like let the air out of the tires a little bit? And then when I was knocked down so bad, it was like, well, we have to wait yet another week. And then this week I was like, you know what? If our first podcast has to be Noel's in the office and I'm at home, so be it. We're coming back. We can't make them wait any longer.
If it's 3 weeks, that's too long. They'll think that we're dying.
It's just too long. They'll think that we're dead. And it's just too scary now. You can't.
It's
you got to count on some things
out there because it could be true. That's a terrible. I feel sad. Oh God.
No. It's true. It's true. There's enough. I mean, it's still a serious enough of a thing that when somebody does get it, you encourage them. You did for me too. Like when you had it, you were like, you know what? Hopefully for you, if you get it, it's not going to be that bad. And it's true. Despite the fact that I got my butt kicked for a couple days, and I still have lingering cough, whatever. We have so many things that I think, whether it was cases of COVID that we caught or the vaccine and other preventative things, vitamins and doing things to help kind of combat it. Yeah, it was crummy, but I feel invincible. I feel unstoppable. And I feel like I could do anything now.
You could do now you're invincible. You have invincibility.
I'm invincible. I can go anywhere.
Yeah. No, we totally did the old throw the kitchen sink at it. Now that by throw the kitchen sink, I mean only things you could get from from like a vitamin store or from the
totally.
Totally. We weren't digging it hard for like the any of the doctor things that are
right
potentially out there. Some controversial, some not. But we did go heavy on the vitamins. We went big on it, and I do think they helped. I felt like they helped. You feel the difference when taking them.
I'm sure if I didn't take them, I'd be history. That was it. So
yeah, man. Yeah, but I'm glad we're back, and I am sorry the audience missed it. It was tough because the week that I had it, we already had the episodes pre-recorded, so we wouldn't miss one. And then we were gonna come back and do it. I was gonna figure one out that first week, and then you got laid out like on Wednesday.
It was literally the day we were supposed to connect the next morning, and we were kind of doing it last minute. It was like, well, if we bang it out on Thursday, it'll be ready to go by Friday. And that was exactly the very beginning. And then by the next week, I was really not. You could have done it, and it would have been you going like, Jakey, we're back. And it was like,
it was so funny. It crossed my mind for about 6 seconds. Last week, well, the first week definitely. Last week, not as much. Yeah. But the first week, it crossed my mind for 6 seconds that maybe I would try to record a podcast without you, and like just to give them something, right?
Just to give them something.
And I was like, A, I'm alone. I don't know how good I'm going to be doing this damn thing alone.
Yeah.
B, I don't know how any of the gear works.
Yeah.
C, who's uploading this thing or putting it on? I was like, it's that happened. They're just gonna.
That's so
funny.
And then
last week, honestly, when you were still recovering, and I was cooked. I was slammed because I missed it a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's
add another week on top of the holidays, and it was just like
totally. Yeah. Sickness slows down the productivity. The holidays, we had to put a lot of things on pause. And let's talk about the real superhero of this whole thing, which is Veronica. Because she continues to be untouched. I check with her every day. I go, how you feeling today? How you feeling? And she's fine. And she came in close proximity with me when I had it. And she got, and I said, I am so sorry. I said I had no idea. I tested negative. And then I tested positive. And she was like, don't worry. She did her very sweet, don't worry, Mr. Jacob, give us.
Mr. Jacob, give us.
And she's still made it strong. So Veronica, we probably should have just said, hey, Veronica, every Friday, just put a video of you talking out. And I think that'd be good enough. I think they'd be happy with it. Yeah.
You and I joke that we're never. I mean, it's not a joke. It's true. We're never going to die.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. All this good. But I think Veronica actually is never going to.
I think this is true. I think that she is truly the Highlander, the immortal one that the prophecy has said would ride over the horizon and bring in the dawn of a new era. And that is Veronica.
And that explains why she keeps cutting people's heads off all the time. Also.
We keep telling her, stop doing that. Everybody in the building is very afraid. You can't.
And then she goes, Mr. Jacob.
Mr. Jacob.
There can be only one.
I want to see a Highlander reboot with a very sweet female lead. That's what I want to see. I want to see a Highlander. And for you kids who listen to the show, Highlander was a very great 1980s movie about an immortal swordsman. And you have to, in order to be there can only be one Highlander. That's the rule. So if two Highlanders come across each other, they got to fight to the death. And the only way to kill a Highlander is to chop their head off. So that's been your old man explaining content to the young Gen Z audience moment.
Exactly. It was initially like a Sean Connery classic. Yes. Connery plays this the older Highlander teaching the younger Highlander all the tricks.
So great. So great.
It's
classic movie. Classic.
It is classic. Some of the sequels were good. Some of them were not. But the original was really magnifique.
Yes. Mwah. Mwah. Chef's kiss. But speaking of movies, there was a movie that happened during the holidays that you could say ties into Biofriendly Planet, ties into the environment. And I wanted to see if you saw it.
I did.
Don't look up.
Yes.
We both knew it. We knew it. Yes. I watched it. Did you watch it?
I totally. It was great. Yeah. It was great. It was great. I think the thing that I thought was so well done. So the guy who wrote that was the former, or the person who came up with the story and then brought it. I know that the script was written by
Adam McKay.
But the story and like, his assistants in the script for the story came from a guy named David Sirota. And David Sirota used to be Bernie Sanders' chief of staff and campaign manager.
Really?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Whenever I tell that to people, they're amazed. So like, wait, but it's such like it doesn't feel like a progressive, poop talking at all. Yeah. Right. And he's done some interviews on it. He's a really brilliant guy. He's got great. He's got the Daily Poster is his magazine or his like newspaper, which is terrific. You should check it out if you want to get some interesting insight on what happens in Washington. Yeah. And he goes on a bunch of the kind of more indie shows to sort of talk about his take on stuff. He's a brilliant guy. But he was talking about when he made the film, how his goal, like obviously for him, it is an allegory for the environment.
Right.
But that he didn't want to make it, it doesn't have to be. Like that was his big thing, is it doesn't have to be. Like
I got that.
Yeah. Like his whole thing was whatever it is that upsets you about the government, about the fact that the government doesn't listen. Pardon my French.
No, it's okay. Hey. It's 2022, baby. We got to tell it like it is.
Right. Exactly. And it, like if whatever the thing is in your life that bugs you, that you feel is obvious, that's sitting right there, that's just look up and you can see it, that they won't see, they won't help you with, they won't do. It's about that. Because it isn't just the environment they do this about. They do this about a million things. I think a lot of people feel about this when it comes to like the COVID handling. And so many like they just. So what was great about it was because it was not written as like a piece to bully somebody into a political idea, but just as a really interesting story about how a government can't function, and in doing so we'd all die. Right?
Yes.
It made it so that everybody liked it. I mean, I have a lot of conservative people I know, and I have a lot of really liberal people and progressive people that I know, and like Trumpers, everybody loved it. Everybody I know was like, this is exactly what I've been trying to say. This is exactly right.
This whole time. I was
so thrilled to see that.
I was too. And I got to say, I think you're 100% right because, of course you can sense, we work in environmentalism, so you can sense, okay, we've got DiCaprio in a lead. This really has...
He was great.
So he was so great. What I loved about it, and spoiler alerts. We're not going to ruin the movie or anything, but this is a nuanced film about two. A university professor and a graduate student who make this discovery of this asteroid that's going to come and hit Earth. This is all
Jennifer
the trailers,
Lawrence,
right? Jennifer Lawrence
is the graduate student. So it's not like they're bringing in the B team. I mean, these are top flight actors.
Yeah, top grade A actors, and that these people are very vocal about environmentalism. So from the moment it begins, you go, well, clearly that is one of the allegories. But I get the same sense that the whole film was this like, I want to tear my hair out how frustrated I am when something that is so clearly needs to be addressed and people get distracted. I really thought that the whole, the character that Cate Blanchett and Tyler Perry plays was the best lampooning.
They were hilarious.
It was hilarious because that's exactly how it is. It's everything has to be pleasant. Everything has to be this certain way. And you go, every now and then we need to just have a conversation and we need to talk about what's the elephant in the room. And I thought everybody should see it.
That scene where DiCaprio's in there at the towards the end, he just freaks out. He just starts screaming at the camera. He's like, It's like, can't we just freak out? I was like, yes.
I know, because they did it so well. I highly recommend everybody in the audience, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it, because, you have Jennifer Lawrence, who is what we identify the people that are vocal out of the gate. You know what I mean? They see the problem and they go, the only way anybody's going to listen to me is if I get in your face. And you see in the movie how, she was wonderful, how that backfires, because people go, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. You're crazy. You're a gift.
Which is what we deal with.
Yes, which is what we deal with. And then you push somebody so far, like DiCaprio, who keeps trying so hard to play the game and do
to win
the
it
thing.
From the inside, to be in the conversation, to be in the room, to be part of the thing, so I can help influence the situation. Yeah,
I thought, boy, oh boy, if you've been in this game, that is in anything. That is what so many of us want to do, which is, I want to be in the conversation. I want to be at the table. And then he's at the table and going, are you guys crazy?
It's like, really? This is your solution? This is what you want to do?
You want more money? I mean, it was just, so I am so glad you watched it and loved it.
He challenges and he asks them about it, and they just basically want to end it, right? Like, he challenges it in the slice thing.
In the slice, it was this peer-reviewed.
Creamed out of the room. Yes. Creamed out of the room and canceled instantly. It's just amazing.
Instantly. Here is a very smart man who made was one of the people who made the discovery. Anyway, I'm so glad. As soon as I knew we were coming back in the new year on the podcast, it was like one of the first things that I hope Noel and I can talk about is Don't Look Up, because it is where we are in environmentalism, but it's where we are with so many things about government policies and the way things, COVID, how that was handled. It's just, you hope that at the end of the film, everybody goes, it's really important to look up. You should definitely keep looking up. You should definitely keep looking up. And that's the moral of the story, right?
Well, and I think that's the thing I taught. My wife sent me, she showed me something where it was, you might be nervous about staying woke, but you do need to stay awake.
Yes.
Right? Like that,
yes.
like that, like it's I think that the whole idea of being woke, I think, obviously has been kind of polluted and ruined at this point.
Sure.
And so, like, this kind of this thing to rile up against.
Yeah.
But there is something to the fact that you got to keep paying attention to what's happening. You do. Yeah. You just have to pay attention to what's happening, and that's not to any political party. That's to everybody. Yeah. It's like you got to keep an eye on what's happening, and you got to try to take some responsibility for it, at least in your own life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing about environmentalism, about the planet. Like we do have to keep our eye on the ball. We do have to keep pushing this thing along and moving it and doing what we can to help individually, and what we can to put the pressure on the corporations. I think we sometimes get a bad rap for not doing enough to put the pressure on the corporations, but because as if we don't agree, we do agree.
Yeah,
we do
absolutely.
agree. We're just doing a show about how you individually can help.
Yeah. It's really true. It's really, really true. And to your point, which is this idea of like being woke, and it's like a cartoon thing now. Now it's like a joke in shows and movies and whatnot. And it's like, even during the holidays, I got in conversations with family members and whatnot about the news media and the news cycle. And I referred back to our episode where we talked about how 60% of all headlines, are like, people don't read the article. And Don't Look Up is exactly that very thing, which is, if you get sent the article that says scientists predict, catastrophe by 2030, you go, okay, I'm going to need you. It's on you now. It's on you now to go a little further, to take a few more minutes of your time and read what comes after that. Because the majority of the time it's going to say, this was just a certain theory. We actually think that if we do these things, we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to combat this and this. But we knew that nobody would click on this article until it had this dramatic headline.
Right.
And so
we needed you to listen.
And so the world is really good at listening for 5 seconds. And then they're like, well, that's all I needed to hear. And it's like, no. We got to, stay awake. We got to have the conversation. You hear the piece of information. It's on you now to research it a little bit further. You gotta just dig in a little bit further, and I promise you'll be able to have a conversation and go, well, actually, that's not true. We do have some things that we need to work on together, but we're not all going to die in 2030. It's just so Don't Look Up was reaffirming what I think we're about and what this podcast is about, which is it is really easy to come at people with a lot of like inflammatory, scary, this is going to happen. And if you don't do this, then but there's a lot of information, and we all have to continue to keep our eyes on the ball and ask what everybody's motivation is when they're trying to coerce us to do one thing or the other. If you hear the message, we got to go all wind, you still got to go, I have looked at the landmass that we have, and we cannot go all wind. It's just not possible. And so anyway,
I mean, look, I think that this has been our message throughout. And I guess if we're going to do it, we're open the year with our little recap, right? It's that the old energy does have to go. The way we used to do it, it's got to change. It's got to go. It doesn't work. We're going to have to find a way to power this planet without burning things. That's what we're going to have to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
And that there are a lot of tools we can do to help do that. And some of that is wind, some of that is solar, a lot of that needs to be nuclear, some of that is hydro.
Agreed.
And some of that will be new. Some of that will be whatever we haven't discovered yet that we're still. So it's geothermal. There's a lot of different ways that we can do it, right? So what that means is that whatever you can do in your own way to help make it so, one, you're consuming less energy, because the less we consume, the less we'll burn. People think a lot that it's cars and it's trucks, and that's a portion of it for sure. Particularly the long haul, the transit trucks and all that, and airplanes, and that's like they're definitely the ships. There's definitely a lot of pollution with that, but industry is bigger, is massive. There's more that comes out of industry. There's more comes out of just like living at home, using energy, keeping the power on, keeping the lights on, all the different things, like all of this stuff also adds up. And it really comes down to, because the biggest reason we need to burn stuff is for energy. Yeah. And so whatever you can do to try to consume less helps a lot. And I know you say, okay, well, in California, we don't use the old fossil fuel energy, whatever, but that's not entirely true.
Right.
Natural gas is better 100% than a fuel oil or a coal
burning plant.
Fire plant. Power plant. It is absolutely better. It's way cleaner. It's in way better shape, but it is a fossil fuel, and we shouldn't be burning that for very much longer either. That's a transition fuel. That's a fuel that we use from now until we don't need to transition out. But we have to use it because the wind doesn't always blow, the sun doesn't always shine. Yeah. And we don't have a landmass the size of Nevada to put a battery farm in for all of California's needs.
Right.
So it's just we gotta work on it. We got to improve the battery so we can have a smaller battery farm. We've got to improve the technology so that we can get the wind transmitted quicker and the solar transmitted more directly onto the home and store it on the. There's a lot of things that we've got to sort of keep working on and keep moving on. Again, we say it all the time. The nuclear power plant really solves this pretty quickly.
I know.
So don't read twice about nuclear.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Read the other side of the argument. The positive side of the argument is a really good argument. Yeah. It's incredibly effective, hugely energy dense, and it's clean. Yeah. It's clean. They don't melt down anymore. The tech is better. Yeah. Okay. You can. It's the quickest way for us to get at that. But my point is, when all that goes on, you need something to back up the power. The sun's not shining, if the wind's not blowing, then you have to have something like natural gas in order to keep everything on. Okay, so just do what you can in your own ways to use a bit less energy, and then do what you can to help kind of advocate for better solutions. Yeah. If you're doing well and you can get your hands on a good grant or something, then electrify your house, get solar in your house, do it.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Anyways, that's
absolutely it, Noel. That's absolutely it. And that is what, our fight continues onward and upward, which is, we gotta combat with the people that think that it's one way or the other and there's nowhere in between. And it's really about keeping our eyes on the ball and continuing to look up and research and finding more and more creative ways and looking for those innovators and those, discoveries and relying upon, ways that we can transition away from the things that are harmful into better things. And sometimes the new thing isn't going to be the solution, but it's going to work for now, so, and that's what we got to do.
So long as we're showing progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's the thing that worries me the most. And that I want us to all keep working with and thinking with is that the battle for the environment is creating unnecessary delays.
Yes.
Okay. The desperation to do everything now, and then is causing a desperation to never do anything ever.
Yeah.
And neither the do everything now isn't possible. We don't have what we need to do it. We need to get it. We need to work to get there.
Yeah.
Right. That's not going to happen. The do it never is not an option. If we do it never, then the worst case scenarios that you hear about will come true.
Yeah.
I don't like to scare people on the show. I don't like to go there. If we do nothing.
Yeah. If you did nothing.
Yeah. It'll get bad.
Yeah.
It'll get bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't keep pumping carbon into the atmosphere like this.
I mean, you can see right now, it's already not great in terms of climate systems, and we are seeing it happen. And so it's like, we got to move it back. So proof is go outside and you're going to go, this is quite unusual that this is happening this time of year, or that this part of the world is in drought, or this part of the world is getting our hurricane again. These things are the indicators that we've done a little too much, and now we gotta solve it. We have
to solve it, and you can't let the background noise of the battle between nothing and everything stop you from just doing what needs to be done, which is to transition us out of it. We have to get out of it. We have to just work every day, keep our eye on the ball, as hard as individually, whatever you can do it to help. Some of us, we're in a lucky position where we can do a bit more here at Biofriendly.
Yeah.
We have to keep our eye on the ball. We all have to keep our eye on the ball to just keep making this happen, keep moving it, keep getting us out of it. And then when we get out of it, there's going to be some problems. There's going to be some damage. There's going to be things that we have to sort out on the other side to get the planet back to where we need to be. And again, those technologies are being worked on as well, but we can't give up, stop, or delay because we're worried about a culture war.
Yeah.
That really has nothing to do with the fact that, we've got a job to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. I like that. This idea of between doing everything and doing nothing, we can't let that stop us from doing something. Right. Like that's gotta keep going.
We have to do the steps. If we do the steps, we go one step at a time. We won't do everything at once, but we will do everything.
Yeah.
We'll get it done. We will do everything.
Yeah.
We have to do everything.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen in 6 minutes. It's going to happen in some years.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right? When we want to make those years as few as possible. That's the goal.
That's the goal. What a comeback. Look at us. No mics. Unplugged.
It's like we were never gone.
It's like we were never gone. Unplugged. Biofriendly Podcast. Back. Streets. Back. All right. That is it. I would say here's the part where we have tags, but guess what? We don't have any tags yet, baby.
We only have one because it's the new year. There's only one tag.
All we've got is the one. So I'm going to say it, which is we are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to the Biofriendly Podcast.
Happy New Year.
We look forward to many more great ones.
Many more great ones with invincible hosts.
We're invincible. We're not going to get sick for so long because we have...
For so long.
We have immunity to multiple versions of this virus. We have vaccines. We have... we are ready to go. If you saw, I would say that our immune screen, if they were to show what our immunity looked like, would probably be like the fattest line of just sick, beautiful immunity.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Glorious
immunity.
Well, Happy New Year, Noel. It's 2022. I can't wait to be back in the office with you, and we can have our microphones plugged in and hear Elise and Veronica laughing at all of our old man references, and eat some candy and go on walks and get some coffee, and it'll be great. So
it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
That's the podcast. So we don't even have to do this. We get to invent how we exit this year.
Okay. Should we let it organically happen over time?
We let it organically happen.
Happen. So like today, I'm just gonna go.
We're just gonna do. Pew pew pew. That's where we're ending the show. Right there.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.